Tippy time, my damies, and welcome to season 2, episode 15 of Reviewedly Interrupted. Sorry, I've been off track with doing these. I should be more on the ball, like giving you guys the best reviews that no one has ever seen. Maybe like two people, like three people have seen these. Okay, so this time, bop, 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 bop. Oh, that's right. We've made our way to Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. Looks great in 4K also. Released in 1992, rated R, an hour and 37 minutes long. I really, it kind of sucks that, all these movies were so short. People would think, hour and a half, that's not short. But it's these could have really been fleshed out to around 2 hours and been no problem, And, I think I've already watched all the special features on these, but it's I love going through. It's every once in a while and just watching the movie, watching all the different cuts, watching the special features and everything. And I actually liked this one because it was so fucking 90s, it hurt. Now the cast: Kevin Bernhardt, Terry Farrell, Ken Carpenter, Doug Bradley, Paula Marshall. Director: Anthony Hickox. Yes. Okay, I chose the theatrical cut. There's two cuts on here. There's what is it? The director's cut or something? What's the other cut? Just unrated version. I think I've watched the unrated version and it's cool. It shows more blood and guts and it's fun. But I chose just the plain old regular theatrical cut. The one that we're all everybody who's seen it and hasn't seen the unrated cut knows. Okay, with this one, there's no opening salvo. No salvo. It's straight to the opening credits. Before we'd get that little thing that kind of a brief little prologue of okay, we're beginning the mystery and everything. Oh, I got a shower. My hair's crazy, man. I need a haircut. But, so, a little setup. No setup, no, what is it, in the second one where we had, at the beginning, it was the flashback to the first. It was the end of the first was the beginning of the second to kind of really make a tie-in. Well, this one just goes straight to credits. It's we get the music, we get the credits. It's there's no setup. So it's once those credits are done, we're fucking in it. And that's it. So I did something a little different. The art piece. Definitely an upgrade from the little humpy skeletons. The ones in the... the first one was definitely more basic. The second one, it got a little more intricate. It had more moving parts and everything else. And this one, it looks very bronze, very Statue of Liberty faded to the elements, green now bronze. So, I thought it looked kind of cool. It was definitely a different look, more upgraded, updated. And then the quick vignettes to more have us put... What? The quick vignettes to have us put eyes on characters, but already starting to build on their place in the plot. Oh, quick vignettes to more have us put eyes on them. Basically, at the beginning there, the little thing to almost where we see the characters, so we know who the character is going to be, but it kind of is the little start to how they're getting drug into the plot of the movie, but nothing substantial about building the character up. We already kind of get an idea of maybe where they're going to fit and what, maybe not what's going to happen, but these quick little vignettes really start to set things up, with JP and all the other shit. And the ER death scene was awesome. I mean, it was so crazy because it almost it was almost reminiscent if Exorcist and Hellraiser had a baby, just the way he was floating and boom, when he just explodes, that's great, dude. Blood everywhere, people freaking out. And the boiler room is so cheesy. That bar is so cheesy 90s. It is so just it. I never went to clubs big clubs like that and everything. So I don't really know what they were like in the 90s. Of course, I was a teenager by the mid 90s and everything else. So I don't know. It seems they're always like that in movies where it's almost like high school where there's all these different groups, but they're all trying to be cool. I don't know. It's very 90s. And the when the lady's like, I'm looking for a pretty girl, it's like, could you be more specific? It's like she gives the vaguest fucking description of this chick. And she's expecting to just find her. It's like, I'm looking for this lady. She had a face on with a nose. And the nose had two eyes above it with brows above them. So if you could point me in her direction, I would thank you kindly. It's like, come on, man. And then I love how Armored Saint is just in this movie. Yes, that's right. That's right. Armored fucking Saint, metal band. And then the fine dining in folding chairs. Ha. I like how it's like, oh, he's in the restaurant. He's in the dining area. They go there and they got this dumbass classical music playing, like just cheese ball stuff. And they're all around and they're supposed to be, like, it's supposed to be kind of fine dining. But they got folding chairs. Not even like real chairs. These are like wooden folding chairs, dude. And the tables are just, it's like total like fucking summer town festival shit set up. Like, oh, this is where we have the food. And it's totally funny. And then JP is such a douche. He's just a spoiled rich kid, just a shitty little spoiled rich kid. Nobody likes JP. He really cements that character where you really just don't like him at all. It's like the way he treats people and everything else, you're just like, oh, this guy's a slime ball. So he does that really well of really just making that character motherfucker. And the dream sequences about her dad seem frivolous until you remember she's been touched by the other side. It's already manipulating her. And that was something because, like, when I was really, like, I really paying more attention to, like, little details of the movie this time by taking my little notes and doing for this review and everything. It's like, because I've always thought, like, why is she having these dreams? All of a sudden, it seems like she's having dreams about her father. Like, this is a new thing. It's like, why? And it's like, oh, yeah, she's touched the box or whatever. She's already been touched by that world. And it's already seeping into her life. And I'm like, okay, now it makes more sense. Because before it was like, okay, this is kind of out of the blue. What does this have to do with anything right now? This is set up for something later, of course, but right now it makes no sense. Like, it had no context, so it was just kind of weird. And like, this lady is a reporter, but dumb enough to let some club kid stranger stay at her house. She's like, oh, I could stay here. It's like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? That chick is probably on so many drugs right now, and who knows what she could steal, or she could stab you in your sleep and just raid your apartment, dude. You don't know this. You don't know this person. This person lives at clubs and has lived on the street. They might be thankful, or they might just be pieces of shit. I can see my hair sticking up. I don't see my face and hair all the time. And it's like the guy wears a silk robe and cowboy boots. It's like so ridiculous. Like, the way he dresses is so douchey. It's like he never learned how to dress properly. He's like he went to a closed buffet and he's like, I want a little of everything. And so he just wears whatever. It's kind of fucking what? And then the new pillar is definitely more artsy. When they really show it again and they show like different parts of it, it's like really cool. It has the same elements of, like, you know, some of the souls and shit like that have been sucked into it and are now a part of it. Because we never learn what that pillar is about. I hope that at some point it explains it. It might explain it in the book. It has been like decades and decades since I've read The Hellbound Heart. There might be something there that, you know, has been lost to my memory. But movie-wise, no fucking clue. But it's definitely, like, the way it looks is pretty cool. I like it. And the bitch can't cook. Her smoke detector ain't working. That's what I put when that club kid. See, it's like I've actually watched the movie like 5 days ago, and so I forgot characters' names and everything. I maybe should have wrote that down, but when I'm writing these, I just like jot them down. Like, seriously, if you think I'm just like making shit up, you can see it right there. It says, "Bitch can't cook. Her smoke detector ain't working." That's how I write the notes, and it's straight there, dude. But like, yeah, so it's like she's burning that toast, eggs, all that shit. There's smoke everywhere, and yet there's not a smoke detector going off. And I think that the fact that she didn't say like, "Hey, wait a second, oh, dude, my smoke detector isn't going off." The fact that she doesn't even say anything, it's like she seems like she was setting herself up for bad things to happen to her at some point anyway. And her obsession to solve the mystery, crack the case, is what draws her in. You see, there's always something. There's some psychological thing with these folks that keeps them ensnared within like all this bullshit. And it's her obsession with the finding the truth, finding this, not just finding the truth, but finding the story that's going to be her big break. It's almost kind of a greed and a van. I don't even know. She doesn't seem vain. Her character doesn't seem vain, but there might be a little bit of vanity in there too. But it's like this lust and this greed, not like a sexual lust, but like a lust for, recognition and yeah, yeah. And I do like how through the art dealer they attempt to tie in the first two films, where it's like the person's like, "Hey, I'll make you this offer for this and everything." So it's like because that box is in that statue, so it's like the art dealer is a great way to tie it in, and then. Um, I do believe it's already been it's already been stolen by then. So it's like when they find the papers and everything, that's what I think I was talking about when they break into because I mean also the art dealer like being like, "Hey, yes, that's the price I was thinking of, blah blah blah," whatever. That's a tie-in, but also like when they break into the art dealer's place and they fucking find the files, and of course the files are from the doctor's fucking private files from the second one, and so it ties that in because the second one tied in thanks to characters into this, and so it's like another tie-in. It's really cool. And then I put JP is just straight sociopath. He's a straight sociopath. Perfect for the Cenobites. That type of mentality, that type of personality is perfect for these motherfuckers. They love drawing those kind of sons of bitches in and then turning them into what they want to turn them into. And basically, it's like I know that some of these Cenobites probably feel like they've got this kind of power, but it's like, nah, dude, you're basically, the attack dogs. You're on a leash. And then that orgasm pose will always be hilarious. That one where he's like banging that blonde and just like, oh, it's like, who does that? Who does that? I mean, it's like the Patrick Bateman like flexing into the mirror shit. It's like too much. And then I said, to be honest, these are classic Hellraiser character types. They really are. If you look back, there's always the real sociopathic people or objects, things or objects. It's all about me, 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 me. I'll do whatever it takes to get what I want people. And they're like very that. We've got the good natured people that stumble into it and are just straight victims, and we got the other people that are like the heroes, but for some reason they're touched by the evil that follows them and wants them. So so these are all classic tropes and for the Hellraiser franchise, and that's what makes it another solid Hellraiser movie to me, that it still follows this very certain formula that it was set up with the first two movies, that isn't like totally overt, that it's like very certain staples and certain aspects of the movies that make them. That's why this is the Hellraiser tetralogy instead of like the 5, 6, 8 movies or whatever. Like these first 4 movies really tie in together, and through multiple things, storyline, plot and everything, but also these smaller things that I've noticed. The ditzy blonde death scene was great, but too quick. It just kind of like it went way too quick. Like they of course probably in the unrated version it's probably longer, but in the theatrical cut they really cut it quick. You can tell it's like these Hellraiser movies are probably always very close to getting like an NC-17 rating, and like back then I still think they didn't have anything. Like after that, it might have still been X. I don't even think they could have released it. If they would have released it unrated, it would have like never played in theaters or anything ever. So I don't know. It's like now Pinhead needs to manipulate someone so he can escape and wreak havoc. You know, in the first one, it was Frank. Frank needed to manipulate someone so he could come back, get his skin, do some shit, come and fuck shit up. The second one, it was Julia. So it was another human that person and everything. But this time it's flipped, and now fucking Pinhead is the one that needs to manipulate someone so he can get out and fuck shit up. So it's like kind of cool because that's another thing that plays along with the movies. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty fucking wild. And the second time with the Kirsty tape, you know, just having Kirsty still in there and like, you know, after everything had happened at the end of the second movie, her being reinstitutionalized or something because, you know, fucking she was in the center of a whole bunch of craziness. So they locked her ass up because what else are they going to do, I guess? I don't know. They're like, fuck, dude. We got a bunch of dead motherfuckers and we got this bitch running around and spouting crazy shit. So, of course. But, yeah. Like, just tying that in to also make it really feel like now it's a trilogy along with this movie. It's not just an entry. You know how, like, it's always a different set of victims in Friday the 13th. So it's like, even though they kind of tie in, like as they go on, they don't really anymore. It's the certain storyline is lost. While this carries on and, like, the original storyline. So, yeah. Pretty cute. And we have to wonder why we see Pinhead's human self. Like, why, huh? Because it is a question. It's like you keep showing his human self, and it's like, okay, what does this have to do with anything? What's this? How's this going to develop plot? Because there's a lot of things that are just thrown in there, and they're not explained. They don't have any setup. They just do them, and it's one of those things where it's like, here's some shit, and then they explain it later, and it's like, oh, okay. So that's like one cool thing that I love about this movie because it throws a mystery at you, and it's like, don't worry though. We'll give you a payoff and we'll solve the mystery, but for now we're gonna have some questions, keep you involved. It's a great way to keep people involved where it's like, okay, so what's this about? You know, if you're really watching the movie and into it, you know, you're sucked in. It's a great way to carry the action along also in a different kind of way. And daddy issues messing with the box. You know, I called, what's her name, daddy issues, because she's definitely got daddy issues. I mean, the way she was dressed in that scene where she's like in the short shorts with the crop top and she's got it's like, you could tell, you're like, okay, you need some counseling. You definitely had a rough life, but this started somewhere when you were young. Maybe you need to talk to someone about some family issues. Like your dad left or he was a horrible person or something. Okay? But, you know, she starts messing with the box and you're like, oh, this is... You need to put that shit down because you shouldn't be messing with that. And we know JP wants to sacrifice her. He's such a chode. He's like, hey, come on, baby. Come on, baby. And of course, because, you know, the way he talks to her and manipulates her and with her issues, she's right over there. Especially when she freaks out. Oh, yeah, you're going to leave and jump. You don't even talk to anybody. You just fuck that apartment up and leave. And then, what did I say? Human Pinhead keeps calling out. Why? Why? I don't know. Well, I do know. What am I saying? But it's another thing that propels it on. It's like, okay, these mysteries, and it's like building on it a little more. And instead of like high-speed chases or something like that, this is a great way to progress the plot and through like an action that doesn't have to be spectacular blow up car chase exciting action like that. Something so the plot really does pull along, you know. And then the artsy pillar morphing is really cool. Practical effects, I loved it. Also looks like a giant tumor. You know, when it starts getting really fleshy, when you see it start to turn to flesh and it starts just like oozing stuff and falling apart and so fleshy and like slimy and everything. It's like, it's a really cool effect because it's just like another kind of weird, you'd say like body horror type thing because the way it turns to flesh. So it's like it throws a little different kind of body horror in there again because there's actually a lot of body horror in Hellraiser movies. So yeah, I really like that. That was a cool effect. That was I wish, like, I'm gonna have to watch the unrated version again because I'd hope that they added more to that. And then Pinhead really ramps up getting a crew together in this one. You know, before he always had his crew, but this time he's got to get some motherfuckers together, and he really snags some people up. Bless you. He really bless you. So like, he really ramps up like getting his crew together, and like some new Cenobites to start wreaking some havoc, fucking shit up. So the old haunted radio. If there's an old radio and it starts playing, get rid of it. There's nothing good comes from old radios that aren't plugged in that start playing. Nothing. And then she puts her hand through that barrier. Remember after the radio plays, it's like, step through the window. And steps through, doesn't even take a peek. She puts her arm in there blindly. Doesn't know what's on the other side, yet sticks an appendage through there. Doesn't seem like, okay, I'm just going to like poke my head in like a little bit really fast and I'm going to look around and I'm going to see what's up and then I'm going to get back. No, there's nothing. She's just like, oh, my hand, it goes through. All right. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, seriously, this lady is like, she's waiting for shit to happen to her. She's tempting fate all the time. And then the battleground carnage is more great practical effects, where it's just great, where the explosions, you see body parts flying, but then when they really start walking through there and you see like just the parts blown off and the pieces here, the half of bodies and everything, they really went into it, like with the effects, and just like the makeup they put on people along with just everything else. And like, that was a really cool little scene. It was like, oh damn, dude. So I like that. Pinhead's real name is Elliot Spencer. Pretty regular name. Pinhead. You say Pinhead, they're like, oh shit. And they're like, and if you say like, oh dude, Elliot Spencer, they're like, who's that guy? I mean, is he like your neighbor? Elliot Spencer, what did he do? Is he like fucking up your fence or something? What's going on? Is this dog shit in your yard? I don't know. Who's Elliot Spencer? I just think it's so funny because it's so great and so perfect too. Just a regular fucking name. Nothing even remarkable about that name that would make it be like, oh, like it's a cool name. It's just Elliot Spencer. Just a regular practical name. And I actually kind of like that. Kirsty reintroduced Spencerhead to his humanity. Remember that when he's like, this is a picture of you. Remember all that. That opened up a door within Pinhead himself and his subconscious and all that shit. So now he wants to stop Pinhead's self, So now he's like, all right, that human part kind of feels some regret and some remorse and is like, does not like where he is and what's going on. It's like, which is kind of weird because he wanted that, that's what pushed him there. But I guess there's always this duality of man where there's never a total evil. There's still a good part and vice versa. That could mean something about these main characters where they may be so good, but there's a little bit of bad in there somewhere, and that's what keeps attracting these motherfuckers to them. And I said, I gotta admit, a pretty wild plot, even for a Hellraiser film, where all of a sudden it's like, now Pinhead's in this moral battle with himself and his two selves and stuff, and all this shit. It's like, it's a pretty wild plot where it really just kind of goes, what? Instead of just like, we're chasing this person who opened the box and we want to get them and torture them for eternity. Now it's like, oh, but this duality of man thing happening. It's pretty wild. And I gotta say, when the macabre art comes alive is probably my favorite part of the whole film. The effects, the carnage, the action. It is wild. I do remember that like in the unrated cut that there was a lot of that was extended. Like I do remember some parts of that because like, the video quality, it like lessens. It's one of those ones where they couldn't, like the print copy they had was just in the state it was, and they just inserted these scenes and they're lower quality, but they still add to it. And it's like, if you're just there for the action and it's, who gives a fuck about quality? You just want to see the scene, and these extended scenes, especially of all the violent carnage and bloody Hellraiser bullshit, is like fun and it's cool, and you don't care. And the part where you just hear screams, chains, hacking, and slashing with a pool of blood coming from under the door is epic. Where it's just like after those double doors close and the people can't escape, and you just hear those sounds, and the camera's just kind of like down at the door and it's moving back, and you just see the blood with all those crazy sounds, just ah! And then you hear the screams start to die down where there's less and less of them, and that blood pool is just so huge. And you could just imagine this pile of just like dead, hacked up bodies right next to the door, and it just gets quiet, and it's just like, oh, that is a very brutal scene. All you see is a pool of blood. That's all you see. You don't see any of the violence happening to the people, but it is so fucking violent just in the sounds, and just what your mind is doing. It's one of those great things that, like, if it's done right in a movie, your mind is going to make it so much more disturbing than what you're actually seeing. How everybody thought Texas Chainsaw Massacre was like the bloodiest movie ever made, and it's like very little blood. So the haunted TV now, her appliances are crazy. So the TV isn't even plugged in, and yet, it's the other side manipulating her to get her to come down there to the place so they can kill her and take a box. That's what they do. But it's like, honestly, I think she should just be Amish and not have appliances, because every one of her appliances is just fucking with her. And, what's next? The microwave that, I don't know, does something. That was a great follow-up. I really put a lot of thought into that. Okay, the full-on massacre mode at the club. Like, it is crazy in there. When she's walking in, you see, like, hundreds of just dead people everywhere. It's like, that, I even wrote, that's a lot of dead bodies. Like, it is crazy. Like, I would say body count-wise, this fucking movie is, like, nuts for a horror movie. And then one thing I've noticed is, like, remember the trench, the World War II trench, where we see all the bodies, they're all blown to pieces and they're laying everywhere. Well, that club scene, it's a modern recreation of the World War II trench scene. So it's like what you're seeing in that club is basically the same thing that happened in that trench. So it's like fucking, like, I thought that was great. All of a sudden it clicked. I think it really clicked for me this time. I was like, oh my God, it's like history repeating itself. And like, so it was pretty cool. I thought that was cool. And then a nice classic street chaos chase scene where it's just like wild shit happening as she's running down the street, the water that's electrified, shit blowing up, and then all of a sudden here come the Cenobites, And then camera Cenobite and his cheesy lines, how very 90s. Ready for your close up. I honestly think that this movie would have gotten a lot more fans of people like that, I don't know, couldn't take the cheesiness, when it's just like, it's almost like these little unneeded tension breakers. Like, you really don't need them, but it's like so funny that they threw them in there because it's so 90s, like fucking Schwarzenegger and his late 80s, early 90s action movies and his cheesy one lines, chill out, and all that kind of shit. So for them to throw it in there was like kind of funny, but I think it made people take the movie less serious, and this could be like a solid, just straight serious, no comedy whatsoever horror movie. But they threw that shit in there, and I'm like, fucking whatever, dude. It's kind of funny. It's like, both ways would have worked for me, but like, they went that way, and it's like, it's so 90s, dude. And then Pinhead got himself a brand new crew fast. I mean, he's got like 5 fucking Cenobites, and he just did it like in one night, like in a matter of hours. The church scene got some flack for being a little much, but it definitely plays into how evil Pinhead and the Cenobites box, etc. are. Total blasphemy. People said it was overdone and it was too much and it leaned too much on the religious thing, but it's like, that's what these fucking things are. They're evil, dude. They're all against like good in the church, and they're gonna do absolutely blasphemous shit like constantly because that's their jam. So it's like, for people to be like, oh, that was a little much. Not for Pinhead and those guys, because they're evil. What the fuck do you want? Just because it wasn't overtly Christian the whole fucking time, or like, people with crosses and trying to chase them away, just because it wasn't like that the whole time, it's like they admitted to being evil like the entire time. And if you didn't get it, sorry, but How many you got? And then the more vocal Cenobites in this one. You know, in the first two, it was like the lady was saying stuff. You know, the female Cenobite, she was saying stuff. But other than that, the rest of them were silent. They weren't saying shit. Chatterer, fat blob dude, they didn't say nothing. You know, but like in this, it's like three of them talk. You know, so it's like they're a lot more chatty in this one. Um, and I said I don't believe that's really Vietnam, where they filmed that. That landscape is not Vietnam. They did not fly to Vietnam or Southeast Asia or anything to film any part of this movie. If they did, I will be surprised because that does not look like Vietnam at all. That looks like the fucking South somewhere. And then Pinhead and his dirty trick to get the box. See, he was manipulating her, using her father in her dreams and all that other shit to get that box. He was already planting seeds. You know, she was already touched by it. It wasn't his total scheme to begin with, but since she touched that box, he was touched by it. It awakened something, you know. And I said I love the blend of 90s CGI and practical effects with the Pinhead Spencer head meld. Like, and along with that, I put the electricity CGI from '92 looks amazing in 4K. It actually really does. It's like you'd be like, what? Early '90s CGI electricity bolts and everything? No, and it's like no, for real. It's like it. I don't know what the clarity, like just upping that fucking quality actually made it look a little better. But I do really love how they like blend where it's like some really good practical effects and the CGI of course is like the goofy like but like the melding with the um you know the practical effects with the faces like oh dude that is like so classic and I love practical effects and movies like this is why so maybe people don't love this one as much but so much practical effects in this you gotta love these effects because they are really solid and really good. Where are we at now? And I love how the ending sets up the beginning for part 4 like completely sets it up and that's why comes in a box set of 4 tetralogy because by the time we do get to the 5th movie it veers off but these first 4 are totally boom together and it's like that ending is like how the ending of part 1 sets up part 2 sets up part 3 well no um, yeah part 2 kind of sets up part 3 but not really no like it drops in but like part 3 really steps back in and sets up part 4 you know so like I really dig that part 4 is my favorite I can't wait to do that one yeah it really helps keep the original timeline flowing and I talked about that before and like these ones really flow together they have a timeline they have a plot everything is like these ones all tie together it's like what is it in Friday the 13th I like to call it the Tommy Jarvis trilogy, you know, which is like 4, 5, and 6. I call those the Tommy Jarvis trilogy because those follow with the one character and they have their own specific plot following this one character, you know, while the other ones are chopped up in different people. Those ones, well, this is the same thing where it really follows, where everything kind of flows into it and they all tie in together. And we see that all of this, like even from the first movie where like by the time we get to the 4th movie, it's so far removed from Kirsty and her household and all that shit going on with Frank, but yeah, it still ties into how like all of that box and how it traveled from Kirsty, how it's came back around to Marshawn. It's like a big. It's so great. I love it. It creates its own little plot line universe, and that's why I love these first 4 movies. And then the ending credits with Motorhead. Fuck yeah. What more can you say? And then you have Armored Saint in it. You got fucking Motorhead. You got all this shit. Hellraiser 3, early 90s, lots of practical effects. So much fun. I mean, the original is just like it's got a vibe and it's like a perfect horror movie. It really is. It's really great. And you start getting up to 3 and people start dropping out. People are like, oh, sequels and everything. And there are some sequels that we'll get into that I feel less than spectacular about also. But whatever. It's Hellraiser, so got that redeeming factor. But because they did start getting a little over the top. They got very 90s in the way they were doing things, with the effects and trying to because it gets to a point where it's like they want to outdo themselves. Like the next movie has to be bigger, better, more intricate, more bloody, more violent, more, and it's like, so some fans are gonna fall out of that because they see the first one. This first one has this vibe, and then you do see that vibe start to deteriorate because, of course, there's going to be budget changes, there's going to be cast changes, director changes, producer changes, all these changes, writers, all the writer changes, and plus the studios are going to be like, well, if we made this much, let's make more by doing this and that, and it comes down to shit like that. But if you're a fan of old horror, you just kind of like give shit a pass because it ends up, you're not looking for a perfect movie. If you've got Hellraiser, if you've got fucking Hellraiser, who gives a shit what the if part 3 is even remotely like part 1, because we've got part 1, we will always have part 1. They remade Hellraiser, people flipped. We always have the original. If you don't have to like the remakes, reboots, or whatever, you don't have to like the sequels. You don't have to at all. But just keep in mind that you will always have that original, that perfect one, that one that you look at and you're like, that's my jam. You will always have that. And that's one thing that has helped me actually appreciate and enjoy like a lot more movies, is because like when I saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake in the theaters, I actually left. Because I love the original so much because of that vibe and that look and everything. It just has this aura. And the original and the remake didn't really have that, and so I was just like not into it. But then I sat down later and I was like, listen, I have the original. I will always have that. It will always be there for me. Always. Let's really watch this again. And so I did, and I actually found a lot of it that I enjoyed. So it's the same thing with these movies, and I really absolutely enjoy them. And I think I've signed your pity on the runny kind enough for part 3. Shit, we're running close to 40 minutes here. But next one, and I promise to be doing this more regular. There's a lot of Hellraiser movies, so I better get on the fucking ball, isn't it? Next time will be Bloodline, my favorite. It takes place in space. You had me at it takes place in space. Well, not the whole time, but the fact that it takes place in space elements it's fun for me. That's why I like Leprechaun 4 and Jason X, because it's just like, fucking do something different. People are like, that's so stupid. And it's like, do something different. It's the same thing that goes back to, we already have the original Hellraiser. We have the first one. Fucking take them to space. It's like, let's get weird with it. Why not? You're gonna make sequels and sequels and sequels and sequels. Have fun with it. Do something different. And it's like, people are almost get a little upset when things get a little too different, but I enjoy it. So until next time, and we'll do the Hellraiser Bloodline and we'll talk about that. So Wadaka.